Hi guys, welcome. Today I would like to introduce Scope to you. Scope is a student EMR system that is nothing like what you have seen before. It is a medical knowledge platform that allows you to learn, fill in those knowledge gaps, as well as record your patient information during a physical examination. So allow me to introduce and show you how Scope works. And for the purpose of this demonstration, we actually already loaded a case patient into Scope for you. So let me share my screen and we can proceed. So on the left-hand side, at the top left, you learn about your patient. Your patient is Marion Hudson is her name, and she's complaining of a sore throat and upset stomach. So first things first, you want to record her history, right? Let's go to your worksheet. In the top right corner is where you start. Add DDX. If you click on it, this will bring up all the differential diagnosis groupings. You already are on the chief complaint, and she's complaining of pain in throat. So click that on pain in throat, and this will pull up your differential diagnosis given these chief complaint pain in throat. Under hypothesis column, this list is ordered in the order of prevalence. Highest likelihood to least likely that you'll see these disorders. And with the alert sign, you might want to consider them because they are life-threatening. So if you're thinking like a doctor, you probably have in your head a few disorders already. I'll start with viral pharyngitis. Now, one click and this will pull up all the symptoms and signs of viral pharyngitis. So let's go ahead and start marking our observation. Patient has pain in throat. Click once to mark it positive. The patient does not have a cough, so click twice. Click twice, they don't have, again, they don't have nasal discharge, so click twice. And you might ask, how do I know that? Well, nasal discharge, cough, Marion does not complain of nasal discharge or cough. Next, do they have a fever? Well, look on your right-hand side is the vitals panel. This is the vitals of the patient, and she definitely has a temperature right now. So go ahead and click once to mark it as that she has a fever, and under objective, you also might want to do that. She is complaining, or she has a swallowing painful onset 3 days ago. So click that once and you'll get that marked as positive. And you probably saw this tilde. This is how you indicate that the patient might not be sure if they have a headache, or if you are unsure if the patient has the symptom. Now, we still are missing upset stomach. Upset stomach is a symptom of streptococcal sore throat. So go ahead and click streptococcal sore throat. Again, all the symptoms and signs of streptococcal sore throat appears under subjective, objective, and upset stomach is one of them. So go ahead and click once to mark it as positive. Let's continue. Anterior cervical lymphadenopathy. Your examination reveals swollen anterior cervical lymph nodes as well as this. Here is the list. You might want to look into that. And if it gets overwhelming, here's a trick. We have a feature called mapping. This will allow you to map and see what are the symptoms that actually ties to the disorder. And these are color-coded, and you'll see some of them are also shared by both of the disorders. And we were looking at anterior cervical lymphadenopathy. This is tied to streptococcal sore throat. So click that once and you mark that as positive. Now, what could be other disorders that has anterior cervical lymphadenopathy? So map it the other direction and you'll see, tonsillitis is also a disorder you might want to consider. You can click on it and see other symptoms of tonsillitis. Now to clear the screen, you can always just unselect, and that will take those things out of your screen. If there's anything on the screen that you may not know and you want to explore further, go ahead and click on this I button, and that will pull up a knowledge card that gives you definition of the disorders, tells you more about the disorder, shows you videos, images of how exudate on tonsil looks like, down to how do you examine, how do you perform some of the examination. You can click and play a video and learn right there and then. So up here, I want to show you also this tab, DDX, that will filter out only to show you the ones that you have selected. Now, at this point, you want to start narrowing down your differentials, right? Click on this tab here. I'll show you a new feature called Compare. You can pull up 2 disorders at a time and compare them side by side with what the patient has already that you observe. It seems like with viral pharyngitis, the patient don't actually have many symptoms tied to viral pharyngitis. And perhaps you are onto something with streptococcus sore throat. They have so many of them. Well, there are a few more that you might want to continue examining. Let's go back. And what do you do if you think it's streptococcus sore throat and not the other ones you have considered? Click them again, and you'll see I'm marking these as considered, and the darker one is your suspected hypotheses. At this point, you might want to, open up your tests and treatments column and start ordering a test. Clicking once will pull it down to plan. And when you're ready later on, you can mark, prescribe the medication to the patient. And if you want to remove it, just take it out. Okay. This is your worksheet, and everything you have done here is done. Scope will generate your note for you, and there's no more lengthy note-taking, long-winded medical journals that you have to sift through to know if you're on the right track here. Scope is designed to help speed up your workflow. It may seem overwhelming at first, like I said, but after a few tries, I'm very sure that you're going to be super fast at it. So start your learning journey with Scope and try out a few of our case studies. Thank you.